Suburban life often conjures images of safety, stability, and close-knit family bonds. For years, the Hanson family from Naperville, Illinois, embodied this ideal. They were a hard-working, loving family who lived in a quiet, tree-lined neighborhood. But beneath the surface of their seemingly idyllic life, darkness festered. That darkness would explode in September 2005 when Eric C. Hanson, a man who seemed to have it all, betrayed his family in a horrifying act of violence driven by greed and fear. This is the story of a man whose desire for wealth and control consumed him, leading to one of the most chilling family murders in Illinois history. Born on October 3, 1971, Eric C. Hanson was the youngest of 3 children in a family that valued hard work and community. His parents, Terrence and Patricia Hanson, raised Eric and his 2 sisters, Jennifer and Kate, in Naperville. Their lives reflected middle-class success, a comfortable home, good schools, and strong familial ties. Eric was described by friends and acquaintances as charming and outgoing, but those closest to him saw a different side. From a young age, Eric struggled to live up to the expectations set by his siblings, particularly Jennifer, who excelled in academics and later established a successful career. Kate, his other sister, was warm and nurturing, creating a family of her own. In comparison, Eric's path was aimless. Though outwardly affable, Eric harbored resentment and a sense of entitlement. While his parents supported him, providing financial assistance and encouragement, Eric wanted more than they could offer. He craved luxury, a lifestyle filled with expensive cars, designer clothing, and extravagant experiences. Unfortunately, he lacked the means to sustain it. Rather than working to achieve his desires, Eric chose a darker path. By the time he was in his 30s, he had a well-established pattern of manipulation and deceit. Friends described him as someone who always sought shortcuts, often leaving others to clean up his messes. His lies were convincing, and his ability to mask his true intentions allowed him to exploit even those closest to him. Eric's financial troubles began to spiral out of control in the early 2000s. He had accumulated substantial debt, largely through credit cards and loans, which he had no intention of repaying. Desperate for cash, he turned to his family, specifically his parents and his sister Kate. Without their knowledge, Eric began stealing from them. He obtained their personal information and used it to open credit card accounts in their names. Over several months, he racked up tens of thousands of dollars in fraudulent charges. Eric's ability to hide his deceit was uncanny. His parents and siblings had no reason to suspect him, trusting him implicitly. However, as the debts mounted, cracks in his scheme began to show. Kate noticed discrepancies in her finances and began investigating. What she discovered was devastating. Confronting Eric in mid-2005, Kate demanded answers. Cornered, Eric initially denied everything, but as evidence mounted, he admitted to the theft. He begged Kate not to go to their parents, promising to repay every penny. But Kate, furious and feeling betrayed, refused to keep his secret. She confided in Terrence and Patricia, who were equally shocked. The family decided to confront Eric together. Though heartbroken, they gave him an ultimatum: repay the stolen money or face the consequences, including potential criminal charges. For Eric, this ultimatum was a breaking point. Rather than owning up to his actions, he began to plot an unthinkable solution. On the night of September 28, 2005, Eric's plan took shape. He drove to his parents' home in Naperville, carrying a loaded .357 Magnum revolver. His mind was set: if his family could no longer trust him, then they could no longer exist. Under the cover of darkness, Eric entered the home. Terrence and Patricia were asleep in their bedroom, unaware of the danger lurking in their house. Eric approached them silently, his steps deliberate. He raised the gun and fired, striking both of them at close range. The attack was swift and merciless, leaving no time for resistance. After ensuring his parents were dead, Eric turned his attention to Kate. She lived in nearby Aurora with her husband, Jimmy Tessau. Eric knew that Kate posed the greatest threat to his freedom, as she had spearheaded the effort to hold him accountable. Driving to Kate's home in the early hours of September 29th, Eric lured her into a conversation, likely feigning remorse or concern. But his intentions were clear. In a frenzied attack, he bludgeoned Kate to death with a blunt object. The violence of the assault was personal, fueled by rage and betrayal. Jimmy Tso, hearing the commotion, rushed to intervene. He, too, became a victim of Eric's wrath. Jimmy was beaten to death, his injuries indicating the same level of ferocity as Kate's. By the time Eric left the Tso residence, 4 members of his family lay dead. Despite the brutality of the murders, Eric was meticulous in covering his tracks. He cleaned the crime scenes and removed evidence, including the murder weapon. He also took his parents' credit cards and began using them to withdraw cash, showing a chilling lack of remorse. In the days following the murders, Eric continued to act as though nothing had happened. He attended to his daily routines and even contacted extended family members, feigning concern over his parents' sudden disappearance. However, his composure began to crumble as investigators closed in. Terrence and Patricia Hansen were discovered on September 29, 2005, after a family friend visited their home out of concern. The scene was horrific, and it was clear that the couple had been murdered. Within hours, authorities uncovered a second crime scene at Kate and Jimmy's residence. The DuPage County Sheriff's Office launched an intensive investigation, piecing together the events leading to the murders. Eric quickly became a suspect due to his history of fraud and the strained relationship with his family. Detectives tracked his movements through credit card transactions and witness statements. By October 1, 2005, Eric was on the run, driving across state lines in an attempt to evade capture. Eric's flight ended in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where he was arrested during a routine traffic stop. Inside his vehicle, authorities found items linking him to the murders, including jewelry belonging to his mother and sister. During his interrogation, Eric maintained his innocence, claiming he was being framed. However, the evidence against him was overwhelming. He was extradited to Illinois to face charges of first-degree murder, armed robbery, and identity theft. Eric Hansen's trial began in May 2007, drawing significant media attention. The prosecution presented a damning case, outlining his fraudulent schemes, his deteriorating relationship with his family, and the premeditation behind the murders. One of the most heart-wrenching moments came when Jennifer Hansen, Eric's surviving sister, testified. Jennifer had been out of town during the murders, a twist of fate that saved her life. On the stand, she described her brother as manipulative and self-centered, painting a picture of a man willing to destroy his own family to protect his lies. The defense attempted to cast doubt on the prosecution's case, arguing that the evidence was circumstantial. But the jury was unconvinced. After weeks of testimony, Eric was found guilty on all counts. On August 29, 2007, Eric Hansen was sentenced to death. The judge condemned his actions as a calculated and unspeakable betrayal, echoing the sentiments of the victim's friends and family. However, Eric's death sentence was later commuted to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole after Illinois abolished the death penalty in 2011. He remains incarcerated, serving as a stark reminder of the devastation he caused. For Jennifer Hansen, the pain of losing her family is a daily burden. She has dedicated herself to keeping their memory alive, advocating for victims of violent crime, and sharing her story in the hope of preventing similar tragedies. The Hansen family murders remain one of the most chilling cases in Illinois history. Eric C. Hansen's actions defied comprehension, revealing the depths of human greed and the capacity for betrayal. His story serves as a cautionary tale, a reminder that evil can lurk even within those we trust most. The shockwaves of Eric Hansen's betrayal and brutal actions still reverberate through Naperville, Illinois, and beyond. The story of the Hansen family has since become a harrowing tale of how unchecked greed, manipulation, and a total lack of remorse can unravel even the tightest familial bonds. Yet, while the legal proceedings have concluded, the emotional scars left behind remain raw for those who knew and loved the victims. Even with Eric's conviction, lingering questions continue to haunt the surviving family members, friends, and the broader community. How could someone betray their own flesh and blood so completely? What led Eric to believe that murder was a solution to his mounting problems? And why did no one see the warning signs earlier? Jennifer Hansen, the sole surviving sibling, has often reflected publicly on these questions. In interviews following her brother's sentencing, she revealed that while Eric had always been self-centered and manipulative, she never imagined he was capable of such horrific violence. "I always thought he was just lost," she shared during one interview. "He lied, he cheated, but he was still my brother. I didn't think he would ever hurt us. I don't think any of us did." Jennifer has expressed frustration at how easily Eric masked his intentions, fooling even those closest to him. She's also been outspoken about the justice system, advocating for better awareness and prevention of financial fraud and its potential escalation into violence. For Naperville, a tight-knit community where violent crime was a rarity, the Hanson family murders represented a loss of innocence. The neighborhood where Terrence and Patricia lived, a quiet, suburban area filled with families, was rocked by the tragedy. Residents who once felt safe in their homes began locking their doors and looking at their neighbors with suspicion. Vigils were held to honor the victims, and local churches opened their doors to provide counseling for those struggling to process the horror. The loss of 4 lives in such a brutal manner left an indelible mark on the community, a grim reminder that even the most picturesque towns can hide dark secrets. Now serving life without parole, Eric Hanson resides in a maximum security facility in Illinois. Reports from prison officials describe him as a quiet inmate who largely keeps to himself, though his lack of remorse remains evident. He has not expressed any genuine regret for his actions, maintaining a cold, detached demeanor that unnerves even those tasked with supervising him. Forensic psychologists who have studied Eric's case have noted his alarming lack of empathy, a hallmark of psychopathy. His ability to lie convincingly and manipulate others, even under intense scrutiny, points to a personality that prioritizes self-preservation above all else. In interviews with law enforcement, Eric has occasionally shifted blame for his crimes, suggesting that his family pushed him to act. This refusal to accept responsibility has only deepened the wounds of those left behind. Jennifer Hanson has refused to let her family's tragedy define her life. In the years since the murders, she has become a vocal advocate for victims of violent crime. Partnering with local organizations, Jennifer speaks at schools, community centers, and conferences, sharing her story to raise awareness about the warning signs of financial abuse and family dysfunction. Her mission is twofold: to honor the memory of her parents, sister, and brother-in-law, and to prevent similar tragedies from occurring. "If I can save even one family from going through what we did," Jennifer has said, "then I'll have done something meaningful with all this pain." Jennifer also established a scholarship fund in her family's name, supporting students pursuing careers in social work, psychology, and criminal justice. The fund aims to equip future generations with the tools needed to identify and address the kind of underlying issues that led to her family's downfall. The Hanson family murders underscore the devastating consequences of unchecked greed, familial betrayal, and unresolved emotional conflicts. Eric Hanson's actions serve as a grim reminder that financial fraud and manipulation are not victimless crimes. They erode trust, destroy relationships, and, in the most extreme cases, lead to catastrophic violence. Experts in criminology have pointed to Eric's case as a textbook example of escalation. What began as fraudulent financial activity, secret credit cards, and stolen identities spiraled into a quadruple homicide. Such cases highlight the importance of addressing red flags early, whether through legal intervention, counseling, or other means. Though the legal chapter of Eric Hanson's story has closed, the emotional and psychological impact of his crimes will never fully fade. For Jennifer and the broader Naperville community, healing is an ongoing process, marked by small victories and painful reminders. The Hanson family's story serves as both a cautionary tale and a call to action. It reminds us of the importance of vigilance, communication, and support within families. It also challenges society to confront uncomfortable truths about the darker aspects of human behavior, truths that, if ignored, can lead to unimaginable consequences. In the quiet moments when the public spotlight has dimmed, Jennifer continues to carry the weight of her loss. Her resilience in the face of such profound tragedy is a testament to the human spirit's ability to endure, even in the darkest of times. The memory of Terrence, Patricia, Kate, and Jimmy lives on, not just as victims of a horrific crime, but as reminders of the love and light that Eric Hansen tried to extinguish. Though their lives were stolen, their legacy endures, a beacon of hope amid the shadows.